Good Monday morning. I hope I have a word of encouragement for you today if you're in a situation where your efforts don't seem to be getting the reward your heart desires right now. We just got back from seeing my middle bonus daughter and her husband and their little itty, our new little grandson. Stop. Who knew? You knew. So many of you knew. You say it all the time. So we're super grateful. And she sent me home with a sourdough bread starter. And if you would have told me when they were little that any of them would bake, be cooks, I would have said one could hope. Because when Philly and I first got married, I would cook for them. That was like one of the ways I was able to share my love with them and let them know I love them. And those were hard years, very hard years. And one day I was in my bedroom, and we didn't get them nearly as often as we would have liked, because that's just one of the painful consequences of divorce. But I was in my bedroom one morning, and in that morning during prayer, I was wrestling with the fact that it felt like we had such few moments for impact and to have impact on them, and you just felt like everything was fruitless. And you were like, what am I doing? I'm just spinning my wheels and I'm never going to see fruit from this. And I turned the TV on, it was 700 Club, and they were having a lady on there about parenting. And I was like, I'm not watching this. I do not want her to tell me all the ways we're getting this wrong. And I sat there anyway, and she said, the number one thing that has impact on your children is consistency. And I was like, wow. If Philly and I have tried to do anything, not that we haven't had to go back and apologize about things that we did, because there were many mistakes we made, but the one thing we have always been is consistent. And I just felt this wave of relief, because even though we weren't seeing any fruit of that consistency, here I am 15 years later in marriage, and I'm going to my bonus daughter's house, or they're coming here and they're cooking for us, or she's giving me sourdough bread starter. What? And all of these years later of just those faithful, consistent deposits is producing these beautiful, fruitful relationships. Paul wrote to the Corinthians in 1 Corinthians 15:58. He said, therefore, brothers and sisters, be steadfast, another great word for consistent, immovable. And we weren't always immovable. There were a lot of times things happened that made it feel like our whole foundation was shifting, but we tried to get back to immovable as quickly as possible. Be steadfast, immovable, always excelling in the work of the Lord. And then it says this, being continually aware that your labor, and get this, in the Lord. Not labor in your own efforts, not labor in your own striving, not laboring in your own works, but in the Lord, trying to follow his lead, being obedient to how he leads you. It is not futile or wasted. It is never without purpose. So I don't know what land you may be in today, for lack of a better word, that just feels like you're not seeing any reward. It could be your work, it could be a relationship, it could be with your finances, it could be with your children, it could be in your marriage. But just be consistent. When people encounter people who they never know what they're going to get, number one, they're encountering people with a heart issue. Because when we are perpetually like this and people encounter us and they don't know if they're going to get our angry self, our anxious self, our frustrated self, our happy self, they never know what they're going to encounter. That is not a steadfast land. And if that is us, then we need to really be getting curious with the Lord about what's going on with our hearts, because those are roots of much deeper things. But when we're doing work into the Lord and when we're going into our job and we're giving them an honest day's work and they can count on our integrity and our character, or we're in our marriage and we're being consistently integral and loving and kind, not that we're not being truthful and real. I'm not saying we're being performers, but I'm saying we're being consistent in a manner that reveals the fruit of the Spirit. It prospereth and it produces fruit. I didn't know if that would be true 15 years ago, but now 15 years down the road as a bonus mom and getting to enjoy the fruit of that labor. And every time I look at this jar of starter for sourdough bread, I'm going to be reminded that it produced fruit. And the thing about it is it produces fruit that remains. So don't get weary in your well-doing. Toe the line. Be consistent. God is working. And we're going to make some really good things.
If your heart was encouraged today, please know that we have many other resources available for you. You can discover all of those at reclaiminghearts.org.